known as the Refractor Roundtable, formerly known as Slab Speak, formerly known as the Blaster Bunch. I'm Whitey Gleason, happy as always to be here with you and with the star of our show, a guy who could pick a 1987 Mike Greenwell rookie card out of a pile of commons while blindfolded just by the smell. Dimron Pilati. How are you?
The smell of Mike Greenwell or the card?
I don't know how you do it. I've seen it done.
Have you seen me do the taste test?
I've heard about that. Never actually seen it.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's
yes,
great to be back.
You were on vacation. I had to hold it down last week by myself. It was tough.
Well, I missed a huge week. Not only the show, but the Soderstrom signing at your store. So I missed out.
You sure did. Kyle Ledbetter, who's our he's been our producer at times. He's doing big things, but Kyle came to the signing. He hung out with his...
What color were his pants?
Purple.
There you go.
Of course, why wouldn't he? Is green? Nope, purple pants. That's Kyle for you.
The only two people I've ever known to wear purple pants regularly, Kyle Ledbetter and the Incredible Hulk.
You know, with the Incredible Hulk too, I mean, really, how incredible was he? He was Bruce Banner, and then he got mad, and then everything would rip off of him.
Right.
Except for his shorts.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that incredible,
the shorts were incredible. More incredible than him. Spandex or something. I don't know how he did that. By the way, speaking of producers today, I don't even know if, he's probably like, I don't want to be mentioned in relation to this, but Chris Verlatte.
Christopher Lott, here he is.
Yes.
So the rumor is, Chris, and Whitey mentioned it beforehand, he's a big fan of soccer.
That's true, right?
Is it soccer?
Huge. I mean, a huge soccer guy.
There's a new release that came out in Topps Finest 2024-25, Topps Finest Soccer, UEFA Club Competitions. And so non-MLS players, Chris, who's the hottest player in the world?
Hottest player in the world that's not in the MLS?
Correct. I mean, we know Messi's the guy, but I could tell he's a young cat. He's very young. I think he's not even 18 yet.
He's not even 18. Well, this would be new. I would have thought it was Erling Haaland.
Okay. How about the name Lamine Yamal? Does that mean anything?
Yeah, for Barcelona.
Okay, so this kid, he's like, oh yeah, of course. So he's the rage in the card world. Is he the rage normally, Chris, in just general?
There's a lot of promise.
I mean, they're saying this kid is maybe not the next Pele, but he's up there.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular product, which we'll talk about a little bit more later,
two autos in the product.
Two autos. You've got Mbappe. You've got Vinny Jr. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Okay, Vinny. Look at this guy.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Tag me out. Get this guy in for Soccer Talk.
Yes. He's tremendous.
The best player in the world, Chris, in your opinion?
Erling Haaland.
Easily. Denmark?
Oh man,
Germany?
So bad. No, he's from Iceland. Not Iceland. No, he's not from Iceland.
Greenland?
He's from. He's born in England. He plays for. Oh my gosh.
The 51st state of Greenland.
Not Sweden. Not Denmark.
This is good. This is good at radio, by the way. Dead silence waiting for Erling Haaland.
I once had a girl. Norwegian. Yeah.
Oh, he's a Ouija.
I always get those messages.
He's a Ouija.
Norway.
He's a Ouija. Gotcha. All right. So let's move off of Soccer Talk while people are trying to stay awake this Saturday morning here.
Oh, people love their Verlatte. The numbers just literally went up. He speaks, the numbers go up on YouTube.
I'll just shut up. I would love to see that. Welcome back from Hawaii.
Thank you.
What was your favorite part besides spending time with your wife, of course, for your anniversary?
Snorkeling, seeing an octopus while snorkeling, and also going to Bubba's Toy Box and Collectibles and checking out, and Poipu, checking out the cards there. It's really nice. Also, the Target in Lihui had a lot of cards.
Blasters?
A lot of blasters and megas. Yeah, a lot. Well stocked. The Target in Lihui. If you're
if you need Don Russ baseball, that's the right place to go.
Yeah, but it's just nice. But I'm sorry that I missed such an eventful Saturday.
It was good. Tyler Soderstrom was incredible. If you don't follow us on Instagram, what are you doing? True Sports Cards is the Instagram, and we have photos. Beckett was all over the place. So my son.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting next to Tyler. We had 110 tickets sold, 150 people through the door. Incredible. And it was in, I wouldn't say competition, but at the same time as another signing that was happening on the other side of town that had Mason Miller and Brent Rooker.
Oh.
So coincidentally, same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to the agent that did that signing, and he's like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't know that you guys were having yours." I was like, "I didn't even know you existed until." And so we had.
Sure, he appreciated that.
Yeah,
I didn't know you existed.
Yeah, and as soon as we're done, I'm done talking to you. I'll forget you anyways, as Mr. Wonderful would say on Shark Tank.
Yeah,
you're dead to me.
Yeah,
you're dead to me. So no, he's a great guy. His name is Phil, and we'll collaborate on some projects in the future. But we had Tyler was there. Jessica came and brought Beckett. Beckett crawls up to me, and I was so focused on the signing, making sure that everything was going well because I was sitting next to Tyler as the tickets were being pulled. I literally pushed my kid away. I didn't know it was him. I thought there was just some little kid. I was just like, "Can you move?" And Jessica was like, "That's your son. What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, pick him up. Love you forever. Sorry about that." Yeah. That's not good. Love you, Beckett. I know he's watching. He's one of the 8 people watching today. So
there's more than that.
Let's do. Yes,
I mean, it's close.
It's close. It's close. Did you tell your wife to log in as we discussed?
No, she's probably listening here or there.
Okay, before we get going, I want to say this. Those of you on YouTube, I want you to mark down this. I want you to search Whitey Gleason Fright Night. That's one word, and that's spelled Nite. Whitey Gleason Fright Night. He has one video on YouTube of you at what age? 20-something, 30-something?
I was probably, about 30.
30 years old.
Yeah.
This was uploaded 16 years ago to YouTube. It's got 1.2K views. So over 1,000 views on Whitey Gleason's Fright Night Theater. Blackula was the movie that you were highlighting that day. Right.
It was a preview. Did that show on Channel 58. But why do you want people to go there?
I want them to see how youthful you were and how you laugh with your sinister laugh.
I was the Creepmeister Maximus.
So you were the host of a show on Channel 58.
Right.
Called Fright Night Theater. And you were the Creepmeister Maximus.
See, there had been a show in the 60s, 70s, maybe into the 80s on Channel 40 and in the Bay Area called Creature Features with a guy named Bob Wilkins. And it was, I know that's going way back. Anybody who remembers it, it was a huge show. And so this was kind of like an attempt to do something similar to that.
Yeah.
And it didn't have the impact, but it was a ton of fun. It was a lot.
You were compensated heavily. We know that much.
Yes. Oh, yes.
The TV budgets then were big. But you said that it caused radio's different because unless they hear you talking, they won't know that it's Whitey Gleason in the house.
Yeah.
But on TV, it's different because people see you. There's a celebrity.
Right.
Your most famous thing that you signed as a celebrity?
Napkin at McDonald's. And then one time I was getting my car fixed and the guy there said, "Hey, anyone ever tell you look like Whitey Gleason?" No.
Thank goodness. Phew, you avoided the stampede of autograph seekers by
It was a lot of fun.
Okay, well, enough about you. Let's
Not
get back
as
to me.
much fun as this show.
Let's get back to me. Let's talk about so we had a very successful draft, Sacramento Kings.
We'll see, right? I mean, so far everyone seems to think so.
Chris has been the producer for the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross for a while now. Chris, what's the temperature been for those that are finding out about Nick Clifford and Maxime?
Well, Dave is pretty pessimistic all the time. I think.
What?
I think you could say that he says we'll see is very optimistic for him. Jason appears to really like the pick. So, and a lot of people wanted Maxime. So,
and how about Christopher Laud? What does he think?
I want to see Maxime do well. We had Stanford's head coach on with us yesterday, and he's a big fan.
Yeah.
It was good to hear his position on him. So I think I'd like to see him play.
You know, that's funny you say that because typically when a guy's going to be drafted or has been drafted, we talk to their coaches and they're
going to rave. Right. Exactly. What are they going to say? That guy sucks.
A few years ago, what was the guy's name? James Bouknight from UConn.
Yeah. Got drafted by the Hornets.
Yeah, and we were talking to, I think Dan Hurley was his coach, and we would talk to him right before the draft. And we're asking him about him playing defense. And he goes, "Oh, he's not a good defender." And I thought, "Oh my goodness, he must be dreadful."
Well,
his college coach is like, "Yeah, he ain't going to guard anybody."
I mean, this guy was like G League in his second year.
Yeah.
After he got drafted.
Right. But to Chris's point, I mean, people, not just Stanford coach, but fans are just doing backflips over this pick.
And also,
both picks, really.
And also, Chris said that the Stanford coach told him to ease up on his shot blocking, Chris?
Yeah, that's what he was saying, that he's a better defender than he says that he's a better defender, and his big thing was not having him block shots because he wanted to make sure that he was on the floor.
Oh,
And
and not getting in foul trouble because you only get 5 in college. So the guy gets in foul trouble, two fouls early, he's sitting for a while.
I honestly think that if one of the two guys, Nick Clifford or Maxime Reynaud, maybe they're both really good players. It's certainly possible. But if one of them ends up being a guy in a few years where he's in your rotation, that's a win.
I think
If one of them,
don't you think that Nick is going to be in the rotation this year?
he's got a chance. Yeah.
You really think he's going to be like the 10th guy?
No. But he
That's out of rotation, right?
Yeah. They have a ton of guards right now. So something's going to happen.
Right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who would be good is have Scott Perry, the GM of the Kings, come on and then ask him directly about his roster.
Yeah, well, we had him on yesterday. He addressed some of that, but more than that, he talked about how happy he is with these picks. But even he said, I asked him about, you got Reynaud and he can shoot, so he's a fit with Domas. And he said, well, you have to wait and see. But certainly that's a possibility, but you just have to wait and see how.
MC in the YouTube chateau says that Maxime looks like a winner, and I'm excited. I didn't even really pay much attention. I think I can't remember. We were on the air for Drive Guys waiting for the second round, and we ran out of time before we went. You went home because it was bedtime. Streetlights were on. Got to run home to go
way past my
I was going to
bedtime.
say nightcap. Good night. And I don't mean a drink. I mean like the actual nightcap that you wear.
Right.
So you were in bed by the time the Kings drafted, but Drapes and I sat here and watched it, and we were like, Maxime Reynaud, that's kind of cool. And you saw him, he's 7'1", you see him shooting threes. I'm like, this guy seems like he could take a rotation place of Trey Lyles should Trey not resign with the Kings. And I don't think that he's going to resign with the Kings. He made $8 million last year. He's a 3-point threat, but somebody that would be of interest of a contender, probably 3 for 30 is my guess.
Yeah. I think
because Naz Reid just signed today. Well, not signed, but he's intending to sign 5 for 125. So if Naz Reid, reigning 6th man of the year from last year, gets $25 million a year, something like Trey Lyles is going to get 10 to 15. I just don't think the Kings have that money on their roster right now. So maybe Maxime turns into that rotational piece.
Yeah. I think the big issue with him is going to be at that defensive end. And the Kings are really focusing on defense. Scott Perry mentioned that with us yesterday. You can see that interview at sackdownsports.com. It's great. But they are emphasizing defense, and that's, I think, maybe the biggest reason why he fell as far as he did. There are some issues there as far as his footwork as to whether he can defend at the NBA level. Hopefully he can. He'll have a chance here with the Kings to show that he can.
What about Nick Clifford? Talk to me about him. What's the Drive Guys temperature that you guys have been getting from your from the call-ins, people of interest, maybe even some of the national radio or TV hosts? What's their feeling about the Kings draft with Nick?
People are excited, and I'll tell you, Jerry Reynolds, we had him on yesterday, and he said he saw Nick Clifford early in his college career when he was at Colorado, not Colorado State, and he said, he wasn't very impressive. But the
was not,
but he's a super senior, so 5 years in college, and he's gotten better and better and better. And I think the key with him is if he can knock down his three consistently, he has a chance to be a really good player. He's got some length, and he's similar to Devin Carter in that he does a lot of things well. So the Kings
but
are
taller. But
a little
taller.
bit. Yes.
I think he's like 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", and then on top of that, he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
So he's a little older, and so is Maxime. I think Maxime is 22.
Right.
It's funny, people are like, well, they avoided him because of his age. It's like, you got a more mature version of a player coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So what? That's a great thing.
Yeah. And it, eliminates some of the variables that are more present than ever now when you draft, because you got guys that are so young, they don't even know what they are yet. And you got guys that played overseas, so it's harder to gauge how good they are based on the competition. So getting guys that have played in college longer, it seems like a safer bet. It's that old classic lower ceiling, higher floor.
Right now, Nick Clifford actually has only one, I'm using air quotes on radio, officially licensed autograph card. It's 2024. It's a company called Onit, or I've never heard it before.
What?
ONIT. ONIT. It's a Colorado State basketball card.
Okay.
They're numbered to 110, and they're autographed. And the most recent one sold for, it shows here, $80 OBO or best offer. So let me find out what that is. I'm going to use card ladder to figure out what that sold for, but it did sell. So let me look real quick on card ladder to find out what I'm going to unlock the price that it sold for. While I'm doing that, why do you look like you're about to say something?
I was just going to point out, this is something that we talked about Thursday when you were on with us. Topps has released Cooper Flagg's first card as an NBA player. Seconds after he was selected, Topps dropped a rookie card via the Topps Now platform. So he's in a suit. Topps doesn't have the licensing yet.
The draft suit.
Yeah,
he was very understated for him. You used a lot of ink on that paper right there. That was totally unnecessary to do that.
I printed it at work.
Don't we all?
So it's RC Topps Now, and then these are available, I think, until today. So I don't know if they're still available today. It'll be available till June 28th, so I'm not sure they're still available. 41 serial numbered autographed redemptions randomly inserted into orders, as well as 265 colored parallels also numbered. But anyway, there it is, Cooper Flagg now. Doesn't have his NBA card yet, but he has his official.
Is he wearing a Mavericks
card
hat in that photo?
He is not. It's just
him. It's just him and his hair. Messy hair.
Yeah.
That Nick Clifford 2024 On It Colorado State basketball card, number to 110, signed, autograph. Looks like it's sticker auto. It's a green with him in a black and white outfit. Sold for $70 on June 25th. So there are Nick Clifford autograph cards out there, and there's a few active ones on eBay if you have interest. I did not look up Maxime Renault yet. He's French, yeah?
Oui.
Okay, I don't know what that means. Does that mean yes?
Oui.
How does he identify? Oui. Okay, so we've got Maxime. I'll look up, see if there's anything there. I'm excited. I think it's Peg Junk or MC in the chat says that they give him an A+ for the draft. Everything I've seen as far as other national, I think Kevin O'Connor said the Kings got an A.
He has a history of being down on the King.
Yeah.
He gave the Renault pick an A+. Kevin O'Connor
At that point, at 42, you don't really expect. I'm trying to think the last Kings second rounder that really even made the team. Do you recall? It's been a while.
Yeah, Isaiah
Thomas for sure. Chris, is there anybody you could think of that was a second round pick that ended up?
Neemias Queta might have been a second rounder.
Queta?
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely wasn't a first. He might have been an unsigned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got him late in that draft.
There you go. Look at the Kings.
The Kings, and it looked like they would have no first rounders, and then you could argue that they ended up with 2 first rounders.
They were both projected to be first round for sure. I think Nick was supposed to be in the top 15, and Renault, am I pronouncing that right?
Oui.
Yes.
Yes.
Renault he was top 25 for sure, is what he was in all mocks.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, 2 first rounders, and then you got Renault for the price of a second rounder.
I'm just glad they got a little younger. We'll see how it works out with these guys, but they needed to get younger. They still do.
Next step on the Kings agenda, re-sign Keon Clark for a longer extension.
I think the deadline for that is tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, so
we know that the free agency period starts on July 1.
Well, it technically starts Monday at 3. We'll start hearing about things.
On the 30th.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll hear stuff beforehand. Like we're finding out about Naz Reid now. Lonzo Ball got traded today.
Yeah.
For Isaac Okoro.
Yes.
So
I had one of his Genesis, Mosaic Genesis rookie cards, and I sold it. Isaac Okoro.
Oh, no. You'll have to work another year. Yeah, what is that? A $6 card?
I thought it was going to be worth more when I first pulled it. What about Dennis Schroeder? What do you think of that? The Kings, according to all reports, are first in line to get Dennis Schroeder if he leaves Detroit.
Chateau, how do we feel about it? Text line, how do we feel about it? 996-339-1140. I'd be interested to find out. I'm okay. You know, he's going to want a little bit of longer term contract, maybe 2+1, maybe 3. Are we ready to commit for somebody that long? Or do we?
Jerry Reynolds said yesterday, pardon me, but to your point, he said, if you're going to have to give him long-term money, Jerry said, I think I'd be okay with a shorter-term deal for Russell Westbrook.
I'm good with Russell for a year +1.
Ah.
And I messed up again. Peg Junk corrects me every time I say this. I keep saying Keon Clark.
Oh,
Keon Clark is very different than Keon Ellis.
Yes.
In lots of ways.
That's my fault. I didn't catch that.
Get
Thank
on
you,
it.
Peg Junk.
Yeah, thank you, Peg Junk, for correcting me.
Yeah.
Never do that again.
Say the right thing.
Never do that on my show again. But yeah, I think that Westbrook would be fun. These are transitionary years. We're not going to win the NBA championship next year.
It would be very interesting. Same with Kuminga. There's talk that they're interested in Kuminga. They probably won't get him, but that would be really interesting.
Kuminga?
Yeah.
So we've pretty much resigned Monk going back to the bench.
If he's
in
here.
all formats.
Yeah.
If he's here.
Right.
What are you hearing?
Well, I mean, there's been talk that the Kings have been kind of asking around, seeing what his value is, which makes sense. They probably are doing that with a lot of players. You just have so many two guards right now. There's not room for all of them. So something.
So as of right now, June 28th, Saturday morning at 10:22, what's our starting lineup right now?
It's a great question. I don't know. Obviously, Domas, DeMar, Levine, Keegan, and
it's got to be Monk until something changes.
I guess so.
Because it can't be Devin Carter. It might be Keon Ellis, as I said correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's Monk until further notice. I think, again, I know nothing. It's not like Monk and I hang out, but my guess is that he's like, give me the bigger role. I'm cool with it. I don't mind coming off the bench. I'm very successful at it. I still get my 16 a game. I feel like I'm a nice spark plug off the bench to keep us going. Monk plays 30 minutes a night, whether he starts or not. So it's not like he's going to see less time on the floor. Just a matter of when do you inject him into the lineup. And I'm for Monk going back to the bench and putting somebody in there like a Russ Westbrook or even I think Chris Paul might re-sign with the Spurs is what I'm hearing. He doesn't mind being, he's going to really be lost in that rotation though with the three guys now, Harper, Castle, and Fox.
Yeah.
So maybe he's like, well, I don't want to spend my twilight years sitting on a bench, but I would be okay with Chris Paul.
Bring him here.
I think if I was to force rank it on the three that have been talked about, I'd say I'd prefer Russ first. I'd be okay with Schroeder second, and then I'd be okay with Chris Paul. But I think.
What about Tyus Jones, or tie us over, as I call him? Because that's what, if they get him here, he'd be like, yeah, you'll tie us over.
Nice. You are good at this. Yeah, I just feel like
he's definitely you talk about a bridge guard, someone to just kind of hold down the spot and do a decent job. I mean, that's Tyus Jones. His name's written all over that.
But here's the difference. In a traditional lineup, which I don't even know if there's traditional lineups anymore, but in a traditional lineup, a point guard setting the stage for guys, balls moving around, point guard's in charge. In our lineup, if you take a 24-second clock, DeMar is holding the ball for 10 of those 24 seconds, right? Comes and the most successful Bean Team version of the Kings had Domas up top doing the handoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
DHO.
People coming off the screens and him screening off the pass. Like that kind of stuff is what made us successful. And I think that we just got out of sorts with our lineup. So I would say this, don't buy anything yet Kings related until after this roster is settled as a card investor. If you like Kings cards because you love them, buy them all. A lot of people, we have a 101 Keegan Murray autograph rookie out of Mosaic that's sitting in our case for, I think it's $300 for a 1-of-1 black. And it's a great card. So
yeah, that seems very, very reasonable
yeah,
for a
and
1-of-1 auto.
That's what comp is.
Yeah.
We sell our cards at comp. And I want to also talk before we close today. How do you comp a 1-of-1 card? I'll give you ideas on how to do that because a lot of people will have that question. Well, if this is the only one, how do I establish value for this thing?
Ooh, let me go on eBay and see what it's going for.
Wait, it's not for sale. No, it's never been sold before.
So that's the only one.
Like, yeah, you pull it out of pack, Dodo.
Yeah.
What else? But I'll help you, give you a gauge on how that does before we leave today.
Okay.
All right. So Nate's is saying Keegan cards hold no value. I will share this with you. Keegan cards don't hold very much value.
But there's still some upside there.
I think so. Do you think he might ever sniff All-Star?
He might.
He might. I'm in a might. I don't think he.
It's just that potential All-Star gets dimmer and dimmer each year.
Yeah.
But still, you can if you squint, you can still see it.
You know who I thought was going to be an all-star that just never shaped out to be one? Kevin Martin. He scored like an all-star. He just didn't have the other intangibles that, or maybe he played during a time where the guards were just so strong.
He was a really good player, though.
He was a great player.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the bounce around layup at the buzzer against the Spurs.
Yes.
You remember that?
I was
He
there.
was in the playoffs.
Yes,
Were you
yes,
there?
Yes.
Good for you.
Sitting at the other end, and yeah.
The game ended like around 10 o'clock at night. Were you awake?
Well, I had nodded off, and Sheena like, "Hey, this might be a big basket. Wake up!" So I just wiped the drool
Right.
from my lower lip, and I did happen to just see him lay it up in it.
Congratulations for being there. We have new products that came out. You want to talk about those?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about some of the soccer already, right?
Yep, we're good with soccer.
Yeah.
We've done our soccer due diligence. Let's talk about what's upcoming. Tonight is a big fight. I'm a big UFC guy. You also are a big UFC guy. In
Huge.
fact, let's hear your favorite fighter. We know your favorite wrestler is Steve White.
Yeah, Donnie Abrego.
Noni Obrego. Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. And he fights in which division?
Pretty much a lot
A
of.
lot. He's one of those that fights in a lot of divisions.
Yeah,
Even though only every other UFC fighter in history has only fought in one division.
right.
When they had the welterweights versus like what weight division is your favorite, Whitey, out of all of the weight divisions?
Probably the middle.
The middle one.
Yeah.
Yes, the middle one, everybody.
Yeah. Donnie Abrego's a
Donnie-
southpaw, so watch out.
Donnie Obrego, the southpaw, and yet Whitey on the radio is showing me regular stance.
Yeah.
Southpaw
that's
would be
true.
reverse.
That's right.
There you go.
I was
You're good
leading
at-
with my left.
You are very yes, because that is southpaw when you
Yeah.
lead with your left.
right. Yeah.
Incorrectly stated yet again.
Mm-hmm.
You're not good at this game.
Well.
I'm going to look up the name Donnie Obrego to see if that's even a real human. Donnie, how do you spell his last name? Obrego?
Abrego. How else would you
Of
spell Abrego?
course. We have the Donnie Obrego obituary from 2011
No.
from San Diego.
Oh boy, tough way to find
Yeah.
out. But
Tonight-
tell me about
tonight,
UFC,
UFC
the fight tonight.
UFC 317
Yeah.
is a fight between two of the great fighters of today. One's named Ilia Topuria. He's a Spanish fighter.
And he's
And-
facing Oliveira.
He's facing way to
Charles
read.
Oliveira.
Good job, Charles.
Yeah.
What is Charles's nickname?
Big Chuck.
Correct. Big Chuck or Dubronx, either one.
Okay. Yeah.
Dubronx or Big Chuck.
He's got the advantage when it comes to experience tonight.
That's right. He's 35 versus 27. Topuria is 26.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot like us.
Mm-hmm.
You're much older than I am, but
Yeah,
yet
but you ain't 26. You are not 26, my friend.
all right. We can edit that out, right, Chris? All right. So we've got that fight tonight for the vacant championship in that weight division. And then we also have a couple of other fighters tonight. I'm trying to think because that's taking a lot of the air out of the building because it's such a big fight.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna
there,
look
so
at
there
some-
are cards available soon.
So the
UFC
most
cards.
recent, it came out yesterday. So 2025 UFC Topps Chrome came out. 2 autographs per box, guaranteed. Very hot product. We have it on our shelves right now at the store.
I
Store's
love
open.
Topps Chrome, and I don't care what it is. It could be Topps Chrome pottery, and I'd be, oh yeah, I gotta get some.
I gotta get my
I gotta get
hands.
that teapot
I
rookie card.
I gotta get my hands all over that one.
Yeah,
Get it?
Love Topps Chrome.
You've been asking me for Topps Chrome baseball for the last
I've been
3 months.
kind of annoying. Yeah.
So we've got 317 tonight. We've got, I'm looking at the card in totality, who's fighting. We got the predictions. So Ilya is kind of the odds-on favorite to win tonight. He is 16-0. Oliveira used to be the champion of a different division, and now he's back. Alexandre Pantoja in the 125 division. 125 pounds. Remember when you were 125 pounds?
Nope.
I think I was maybe...
I don't remember where my car's parked. So no.
Where's my card park? Yeah. He's fighting against Kai Kara France, who's the underdog. That is for the very tiny weight division championship.
I have a question,
Yep.
if I may. How do the UFC, the martial arts cards, do compared to some of the other sports?
You say cards, the cards themselves?
Yeah, in terms of
Because
popularity.
you could also hear about the card being like the match card. Like But you're speaking about the actual
Yes,
3x4
since
inch.
this is what
cards.
we talk about on this show.
Yeah, we talk about cards on the show.
Yeah.
They have a fierce, loyal, but small group that follows.
Okay.
So those that collect UFC they're all in. They really are. But it's a smaller group. One of the things that has helped our industry, and I've never met him before. I think I've dapped him up in passing one time, but Josh Emmett, who's a UFC fighter based out of here in Sacramento, started his own company called One Punch Cards. And it's a breaking operation, and he's done a lot of things to create a lot of visibility of UFC and UFC cards. He breaks not just MMA cards, but he breaks other cards.
Oh.
So Josh, if you're listening, which I don't think you are because I think you have other things you're doing right now, but if anybody knows Josh, I'd love to have him come on the show and talk about his foray into cards. Josh is in his late 30s, so he's probably positioning himself as to what his post-career looks like. And he's been laying out some very successful foundations for him and his team in the card world. And I think that's created a lot more visibility in the UFC world.
You also mentioned today that we have the Topps Finest Soccer coming out. How does soccer cards do? Are they continuing to grow as the sport itself? No,
at least not locally for us. I know that some stores may have a soccer following. We sell our soccer cards at a slow trickle pace. It is football, basketball, baseball, football again, soccer, MMA. So it's kind of in that ranking. I would think that baseball would be a little bit bigger because of the A's being in town now, not happening as much. It's just football all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's dominant on TV. It's dominant in, I think people really enjoy being able to know week to week, seeing it go up or down versus baseball or basketball to where you're looking at multiple games during the week. Basketball, you'll see, 3 or 4 games in a week of the player. Whereas baseball's like 6 times a week.
I think that's a great point. I think that's one of the huge reasons. There are many, and it's not the main reason, but it's one of the big reasons why football is so popular is because you have a game, and I know they play every different day of the week now, but Sunday is the game, and it's just easier to follow.
Right.
Oh, where are you going to watch the game? Whereas baseball, somebody say, the Giants are great. Well, they just, they lost 3 in a row to the Marlins. Oh, I didn't know. It's just harder to follow.
Correct.
Yeah.
Especially when you have us on the West Coast, it's difficult to follow because a lot of people are already in bed. Collectors that may be buying online, Shohei in New York would be probably 1.5 times more popular because everybody, no matter what time zone, would be able to see him playing live instead of seeing the highlights because the Dodgers game ends on the West Coast at 1 a.m. Eastern time and everybody's in bed.
But I am surprised in my ignorance here that basketball is nowhere near as popular in this market as football cards, if I'm understanding you correctly. Wow.
Yeah. So with tonight's fight, we'll see what happens.
Town. Yeah.
We'll see what tonight's fights. And then they're doing the redemption again, where they're doing a Topps buyback. So in UFC 318, which I'm going to look and see when that date is. It's not this one tonight, but UFC 318 is scheduled for July 19th. The lightweight main event is Max Blessed Holloway against Dustin the Diamond Poirier. And I think this is going to be Dustin's final fight. And he's a legend out of the New Orleans area. He's the one that beat Conor McGregor twice. Big rivalry there. Max is the guy that just is a swinger. He's from Hawaii, one of the great lightweights of all time. These two are fighting. And what's happening is if you buy Topps Chrome UFC right now and are opening it, the buyback means you get $20 if you have the Max Holloway or Dustin Poirier winner card. So whoever's the winner of the two. If you have the Max Holloway base, that's going to give you $20 at our store. If you get the refractors, worth $40 and so on, all the way up, depending on numbered refractors or whatever, all the way up to $200 in redemption value, meaning you can come and bring that card in the store and get that in store credit. So it's a great way for Topps and Fanatics to be able to increase interest in cards. They'll do it again with Topps Chrome Baseball, etc. Now, you've been bugging me for Topps Chrome Baseball for almost Oh, I would say that when you're texting me at 2 a.m., go, you up?
You say, "Do you need? Is there anything you're
That's
looking
not
forward
what
to coming out?"
That's
Let me think about it. Yeah,
that's definitely not what happens. 2:30 in the morning, you go to the fridge. You're like, you know what? I wonder when Topps Chrome comes out. And you're texting me, hey, you up? When does Topps Chrome come out? Can I have some?
Can I tell you, when I wake up at 2:30 in the morning, the fridge is not the first place I go.
Okay, let's just say that you open a lid of something.
Okay.
A lid of something is open.
Yeah.
So Topps Chrome Baseball is coming out July 23rd. So mark that on your calendar, folks. We don't have pricing on it just yet. I can tell you what my pricing is, but I won't share that with you. Topps Chrome Jumbo is quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I anticipate that to be in the high 400, low 500 range for Topps Chrome Jumbo Baseball. They will have their version of buyback redemption, just like we've had in the past. Last year, the MVP was Ohtani and Judge, so both of those cards held value for redemption purposes. Where are we at this year so far? Who do you think is going to be the MVP? I think Judge is kind of running away with it at the moment for the AL.
We may have repeat, rinse and repeat.
I will tell you that the big dumpster, Cal Raleigh, the catcher for the Seattle Mariners, who has at this moment 32 home runs and is leading the league in home runs for Seattle. This guy might sneak in there in the conversation. People might have fatigue of Judge being the MVP. Do you remember when Michael Jordan was just on his just crushing it, and then they threw a Karl Malone MVP in there? That was Jordan.
LeBron too.
That was Jordan fatigue because Jordan was still the best player in the league.
Yeah,
and they were like,
I would argue that it may have happened to Jokic.
I would agree.
One, yeah,
I would agree. Shea deserved it this year, but I would agree when they threw in, who was it that came in there? Giannis?
No,
in
well,
Jokic's.
Embiid.
Oh, it was yes.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
But I don't see voters going, yeah, we're going to go Cal Raleigh over Aaron Judge.
I don't know.
Maybe you're right. We'll see.
I don't know.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Okay, and then on the National League, who would that be right now? Would you say?
Well, Shohei's having another. Am I
He's having
missing somebody?
No.
Having another incredible year.
Chris, do you watch baseball?
Here and there.
Okay. We're good at radio station. Yeah, I would just say that if it's Ohtani, those redemption cards are going to be worth that redemption value in our store again. So,
and the great thing about that program last year, I think, was the first year they did this where you get certain amount for the base cards and then more for the refractors, and it was
correct.
Really
20,
lucrative.
40, all the way up to $200.
Yeah. It was a nice for something like this was a fairly generous program.
So if the program comes out, if the product comes out July 23rd, start stacking your chips. It's kind of fun actually to start collecting in the sense of, I think this guy's going to win, so I'm going to buy as many of these cards as possible so I could bring a wheelbarrow full of them to Emeren's shop, which happens. I had a guy redeem almost $7,000 worth of redemption MVP buyback cards last year. I get it back from Topps over time, so I mail them in and say, hey, give me them back, my money back. You don't want to lose that package as a shop owner, by the way. Yeah, that's going overnight and with care, and somebody's signing for this thing because there are tens of thousands of dollars in quote unquote redemption cards that are going back to them that I need to be repaid since I already gave it to the customer. But yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Do you collect Judge? Do you grab all the Ohtanis? Do you grab all the Cal Raleighs? I don't know.
Yeah.
So a lot of fun.
I assume Jacob Wilson's rookie card will be in this.
I don't
Chrome.
I don't know, and I don't think so because he's in Bowman Red RC this year. So I don't think they would do both at the same time. But then again, look at Skeens.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything. Me not know anything. I don't know.
He's not even the be all end all now. It's Mizorowski of the Milwaukee Brewers.
That kid's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And they went heads up against each other, and Mizorowski dominated.
Yeah.
All right. So you got to collect some Mizorowski right now. All right. Last thing we need to talk about is 2025 Panini Score Football. That was supposed to release yesterday. Panini pushed it back. It's coming out on Wednesday. This is your first look at players of this year, 2025, like Shador, like Travis Hunter, like Cam Ward. These guys with their officially licensed products. Whitey, What's your thoughts on Score? Do you buy any of that stuff early on?
I have old Score. It's one of those things where you mentioned Score, and I'm like, well, I think I might have a Biggio Score rookie card, something like that. But the thing I love about this set is hobby boxes are affordable, and you get 4 autos.
4 autographs.
Yeah.
They have 50 different rookies that they're highlighting in this. So for every, I'm trying to think as an example, you might pull linemen. You might pull OTs.
Yeah, I know.
OGs.
But 4 is 4
centers.
for
4
less than $200, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be on our shelf right around the 180, 189 mark, maybe a little bit less. Not more than that, but we'll have them. We'll have them on Wednesday ready to rock.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that anytime you have the first product out, people are going to clamor to it because it's their first chance of seeing them in a uniform of their team that they
It's
got.
like when Hoops comes out, right? Hoops is not
Yeah.
a high-end product, but when Hoops first comes out, the first cards of players in their NBA uniforms.
Right. Don Russ is up there early too as well. So you'll probably see them on their practice field, but they're wearing their Titans helmet for Cam Ward or their Browns helmet for Shedeur. But yeah, he'll be the highest interest collectible player that's ever been drafted in the 5th round on initial product.
Yeah.
You know who's the forgotten guy in all this? Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. If you think about it, the Browns have 5 quarterbacks on their roster. One that's not going to play this year in Deshaun Watson, but you've got Kenny Pickett, Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur. Yikes.
Yeah. And if history has taught us anything, it's that none of those guys will be any good until they leave.
How dare
Cleveland
you
Browns.
poo-poo 2007 rookie Joe Flacco. Cards with Cruz, my boy Brian hit me up. He's asking me, I'm listening to your show. He sends me a text.
Hey, how about
will you
that?
be around at the shop today? Yes, Brian, I will. Thanks for asking me during the
But you're
middle of
leaving
the show.
early because you want to see the UFC.
I will be
event.
leaving early. We're having some Wingstop tonight at the house. Me, Justin Beckett are going to be eating some mango habanero. I have a almost 3-year-old that eats spicy food.
Really?
It's like, dude,
Are you a big spicy food eater?
listen, I'm half Filipino, half Pakistani. Okay, that's my nationality.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So like this kid has some Pakistani and he's like, Dad, spice it up. And mom's half white, half Mexican. So he's like, Mom, spice it up.
Yeah.
So I would say at least half of this kid likes spices and the other half doesn't. But he'll eat like mango habanero wings. And he goes, which is hilarious.
Well, that sounds like you got an evening coming up. You got a great night coming up.
Yeah, what comes out of the diapers kind of interesting too when he eats like that too. Welcome to Card Show. We talk about cards.
That will let it
Yeah,
out.
we talk about cards here. Chris is like hands in his face in his hands going, I signed up for this Saturday morning for this.
Can I ask you about this? Seekins4 wants to know, Whitey, how much did that signed Jordan card you talked about on the show yesterday go for? You know all about this card, right?
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
It's a 1986 Fleer number 57 Michael Jordan rookie card. This is not one of the 6 that were signed last year. However, it is a signed Michael Jordan rookie card encapsulated by PSA, sold for
$2.5 million in an auction that closed Thursday.
and that included the buyer's premium of 10% or 15%. I can't remember. So it officially hit the hammer at about probably 2.1, 2.2. And then with the buyer's premium, it had a maximum value of 2.5 million.
Yeah. 2.5 million, the most paid for a Jordan rookie card, signed or unsigned, and the 3rd highest price in a public sale for any Jordan card. That record, 2.928.
Does it say if the card had an actual grade on it?
I don't have that information.
Okay. We'll look that up. I would have you look on your small tiny phone, but
I was going to look it up on here, but I can look it up on the phone.
Don't do that. It's only an hour long show. I flew to PSA yesterday.
Yeah?
To pick up a card for one of our great listeners. A great listener came in a few weeks and a half back, probably like 6 weeks back, and is a listener. And he says, I love your show. I love Whitey. You're okay. I was like, all right,
I like
fine.
this guy.
Exactly. He's a great guy. And he brought in the entire 84 star basketball set.
Yes.
All of them have
You've
been
talked about this.
correct. So
gentleman.
I went, we opened it there at PSA headquarters. We got it graded.
Wasn't one of the tricks that you had to open them?
It wasn't a trick. I just wanted to do it in front of a PSA representative.
But they're
to show-
devalued if you open them, but you can't.
They're devalued if you open them and they're fake.
Yeah.
I mean, well, they won't be worth much anyways, but the
Right.
only way to authenticate them is not in the bag, but actually.
Right.
And when I
right.
say bag, guys, when you're listening, imagine it like a little small Ziploc bag that's been heat sealed on both sides. That's what it is. That's how Star in 1984 issued out these cards.
That's how we did everything back then.
You
everything was in a
just
heat
vacuum,
sealed bag,
just
yeah.
heat sealed bag it. Honey, where's my pants? They're in the heat sealed bag as
Of
usual.
course they are.
Of
yeah.
course, why wouldn't they be? So I opened it in front of them. They graded it. I went to pick it up yesterday. It came back a PSA 6. So
Now, are you happy with that? Is that?
I mean, the first happiness is it's real.
Mhm.
That's the first
Authentic. Yes.
correct. So
Yeah.
we knew it was authentic. Did we want a 7 instead of 6? Sure. Do we want a 10? Sure. Are we glad it's not a 5? Yes. It is current value right around $30,000. So I flew to go get it. I wasn't going to say, hey, can you throw it in the mail and give me the tracking number, please? Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. So I took my little Southwest flight. I left at 11 o'clock.